of our third one, and you have to have 3 of them, and it was good to come off that scrimmage. We have a padded practice tomorrow, and then scrimmage, and have the scrimmage on Saturday, or the game. Good day today. Like today, the energy was good, enthusiasm was good. A lot of situations, got a lot of things done for a short day. A lot of, throwing and catching, even, schemes. Late situations in the game, before the half, all kind of stuff in that general. Was very happy with that. Scrimmage the other night was very good. I got to play some situations with a little light, some offensive linemen in the scrimmage, but with the second unit. But the first group had enough to do there and played well. Defense, offense, back and forth. Some won, some, defense have a couple good series, offense have a great series. Kind of like a normal game. It was just a lot of great competition, a lot of guys making plays, and got back in. But good thing, got a lot of guys healthy today, which is good back out practice. A lot of guys got back, and a couple guys were unexpected, have healed up pretty quick. So hopefully we'll have them the next couple days. Questions?
You got 2 sessions left, but overall, how do you feel about the progress you got made in spring?
I don't know. Good. Did a lot of things good, a lot of situations. Get guys back some healthy. We'll see how they play. But that's not. I'm not really. It's not a game like you're trying to get ready for, but just you educating them on situations, evaluating guys in certain positions, what they can and can't do, a lot of fundamental stuff. So been pretty pleased. It's been a pretty physical spring. Most part, guys learning what to do and how to compete, and that's the thing. Understanding situations, how to handle clock situations, down and distance, field position. That's one of the main things I think that kids of this generation don't get a lot of. And I think you got to educate them extensively on, because everything's like a no-huddle deal. Everybody goes fast, but you got to understand situations, clock, and then when you really manage it at the end of a game, it's a whole different situation. So trying to get a lot of that done and still be physical and play the run in, run the ball. So I've been pretty pleased.
What have you thought of Ricky and Logan so far this spring?
Up and down. Now Logan lately, I think Logan's had a much better spring. Logan's really punting the ball extremely well. He hit it really good today. Kickoffs were good. Ricky's had some really good days. A couple of days were okay, and then he'll battle back, but needs to get a little more consistency.
What were you saying last year with Logan, with him learning as a punter, because he did other things in high school?
He punted, though. He was a punter.
Where have you seen that growth? Is it just his...
Just fundamentals. No, just the fundamentals with Logan as far as, your drop, your steps, it's all a process too, and getting more consistent on that, which allowed, because he has a tremendous leg, and when he hits it like today, he was lights out today. And, when you have those days, it's really good. And he's been very, very consistent probably the last 5, 6, 7 practices. First one's up and down, have some good ones and bad, but he's really just working on his technique, and getting it and getting it off quick and done a good job.
So would there be chances for him in long-distance field goal situations?
I ain't worried about it. I'm trying to just punt and field goal. I was kicking from 42 to 45 yards in, and we'll figure the rest of it out later.
Saw Josh Ball back out there today?
Yeah, that's what I say. He had a lot of guys back. Josh Ball was out there. Ricky Leonard was out there. Keith Gavin was back. Keith Gavin even practiced, almost half practice. So he'll be back and stuff tomorrow. Cam Akers was back out there. Ryan Green was back out there. Derek Kelly was back out there. There's some more. You'll ask me about them. I'll see if they're out there. But some of the guys were banged up. We had a lot of them come back.
Jim, I know you said the quarterbacks went live in the first scrimmage, I think it was. When was the last time you did that? I know you've done it before, but...
Every year.
Oh, you do it every year?
Did it with Jameis.
Did you do it last year with DeAndre?
Mm-hmm. Did it this year with DeAndre.
DeAndre was live?
Yeah.
Why did you decide to make DeAndre live?
Because it makes it realistic, because it's hard to judge a scrimmage when, if a guy's going to get a sack, you ain't going to get a sack, and it makes you play, and you're getting bad habits, and you got to play through stuff, and as a team, you have to get through that, and they have to learn to do that. Now the line has to learn to do that, and defense learns to have to get a guy on the ground. I've always done it every year. I've done it every year since I've ever coached in the history of my life.
So what do you tell your defense that you want to get him on the ground, but he's a quarterback too, you don't want to...
Knock the piss out of his ass. He's on the other team. You can hit a guy hard without driving him in the ground, but you got to hit him. Unless you don't want to play, I'm gonna get somebody that will. That's their job. It's your job. When it's offense, defense, you're a team, and you learn to practice against each other, and you learn to do things. But you got to play live, and that makes him better. So we used to turn Jameis live. And Delvin them didn't back up. They knocked the heck out of him. Timmy and them, they knocked the heck out of him. That's the way you play.
Will you try to draft rosters, or do you have to split them up?
I'll look today and see if we got numbers, but it looks like we got enough for a draft. Hopefully. I'll double check that tonight and make sure on the injury report tomorrow and how we get through tomorrow's practice, and we'll see. But hopefully it'll be enough for a draft.
Format be what you usually have done? Or
Similar, very similar. We'll look. I'm looking at it now. I pulled it back out. It looks good, but I may adjust a couple little things. Excuse me.
Since the first
At times. But again, that doesn't come till you really understand what you're doing and confidence comes in. You know what I'm saying? You can't force a guy to do that. But in much as being vocal as a leadership, but vocal in communication. You know what I mean? You got to be vocal to communicate your calls and doing those things. And that is leadership too. People don't realize that, but that's leadership too. They're learning to do that.
You mentioned Telvin. Good to have him and Jacoby out there.
Yeah, it was. It was good. I hadn't seen him in a little while. Talked to him a couple times, and of course he ain't changed. He's still the same guy. I mean, it's fun. It's just good to see him and all the things he's been through and what he's doing and how successful he is. I'm proud of him and happy for him.
It seemed like he really embraces the idea of coming back and talking to guys.
He loves this place. He loves what he put in, and he knows. He had some knucklehead things early in his career, but he was never, the bad guy, and fought through them and what he's come through and what he's done and what he represents and the leadership he had and just the attitude he brought was an amazing thing. And then talking to them guys, I had him talk to the guys today about it. He didn't care. He was a leader. He didn't care if you liked him or not. He wasn't there to be liked. He was there to win and do the right things, but he was always a great teammate, and they loved him for it. Trying to get them guys to understand, not that we're trying to do that, but it was great he was around here today. It worked out perfect.
Teams are increasingly getting rid of their spring game, but you've been pretty adamant about the importance of having it.
Wow. Who's getting rid? People getting rid of it?
Oh yeah, a lot of teams that don't do the traditional spring game in the stadium.
Who's that?
Miami is doing it this year either.
They're doing it at a high school stadium. Huh?
I think their stadium's not going. They had an issue with the stadium.
Yeah, but they're going to a high school stadium and have one.
I did a story, I think it was 2014. There were a good amount of teams that.
No, I don't know why you wouldn't. A lot of times that's an opportunity for your fans to come back, for you to put them in a game situation where the clock's running, things are live, there's officials out there, and the atmosphere and environment. If you get the right one and you can fill this thing up with 70, 80,000 people, when do they ever get to walk out in that kind of pressure and that kind of environment? I mean, you can't simulate that in practice. I think all that's important. And I think that whole atmosphere is. I think it's really important.
Jimbo, with these games, though, more and more of them being on TV, is there a concern from coaching staff about maybe not showing too much out there?
We always do. You never do in the spring game. People can come anytime. I mean, in your spring games, you're going to be base because you're looking for execution and you're playing so many young people, and sometimes you're playing guys possibly could be walk-ons to fill in spots, and you're running your base stuff because you don't care. You're not trying to win. You're not trying to win the scrimmage. You're not trying to win the deal. You're trying to see guys play fundamentally hard, do things the right way, line up the right way, run your base schemes, be able to communicate, and get in a game-like situation. You're not trying to scheme it. In springs, you work on certain things, but springs aren't big scheme times. I mean, never are. They've never been for me. And anywhere I've ever been, it's never been like that.
It seemed like last year Jacob Hughes seemed to take another step late last year. How's he progressed?
He's running upstairs now. He probably had the best spring of anybody we've had. I mean, been a super player. Done a tremendous job. Probably as good a spring as anybody on this team.
What do you think clicked for him? Just being healthier?
Urgency, fourth year guy, been around, had some success, realized that, if I do things right and this is right and this is right and thinking right and everything's lined up, and I mean, I've been extremely happy with him now. He can do a lot of things. Big body, can cover you, can cover. I mean, great cover guy, can rush, can play the run, physical. I mean, I'm anxious to see how he plays and can keep this thing going. Because, I mean, he has a chance to have a tremendous career, in my opinion. I mean, hopefully have a tremendous year for us, but extremely high on what he's been able to do.
Another one of those guys that maybe didn't have super success right out of high school.
Exactly right. We wanted to shoot them and throw them away, and they're a bust and all that good stuff. But, it's the old school guys. When they get that third, fourth year, they start clicking in his third year, which would be an old, actually redshirt sophomore year, but we played them, in the old days, or a junior year, and that's about what it is. I mean, because that's when talent and maturity usually come together. And this understanding of life and what's going on, and the urgency that, okay, I got to do this right, and this right, and this right, and this right, and very happy for him. I mean, he has been outstanding.
We good?
No, it's all right. We can keep going, game on. I spent a long time on him.
I know we talked about defensive backs, but what's been your thoughts on Levanta so far this spring, and what growth have you seen from him?
Good. I mean, playing corner, playing nickel, playing inside, playing 2 or 3 different positions. Loves ball. Very smart guy. Loves the game. Do anything. Very coachable. I'm very happy with him.
I know, you guys have definitely recruited the bigger defensive backs guy, him 5'10", maybe 180. What are some of the things that maybe he can do that those bigger guys can't?
Well, you guys are off guys or quick guys. His instincts, his ball skills, the ability to play in the slot, cover those little quick guys in the slot at times, or play a fast guy outside. He's a very gifted corner. And say he's not a big guy, but he's not a little guy. But at the same time, you got to be special, and I think he's one of those little special guys that can just play the game and have great instincts, and he's got great toughness too.
Well, the guys you've been able to put in at left tackle, is anybody impressed or something?
Yeah, they all have. Josh Balls Juwan Williams had a good time. Josh Balls played well at times. Frith had, he got an ankle, and it's hard to get on that edge when you get an ankle. He turned that ankle. He's playing with a turned ankle, but he's been out there. Ricky, when he went over there a little bit, but we left him at right for most of the time. But they've all had their stretches. But I mean, they're blocking some pretty good guys now. I mean, Bernsey now coming off that edge. Bernsey ain't no fun now. He'll make you want to go the other side. But if you're on the other side, he comes over there. I mean, he can rush, and Pugh can rush, and Sweat can rush, and there's quite a few guys in that group that can rush the passer. So they're getting plenty of good work.
You say with offense, every little thing matters.
It does on defense too, but it's just harder. The timing, the rhythm.
With punt returns, is it the same thing too with coverage?
Getting guys held up, make sure they get room to run it, and that you can get the ball out of the punter's foot on time. Because I mean, and these guys today, man, I'm telling you, I've never been around, and you see it in the NFL now. I go back and look. I was happening to watch some of them old Super Bowls when the Steelers in the 70s and Roy Jarrell and them guys. I forgot they missed 2 or 3 field goals in those games. I mean, now if a guy missed 2 or 3 field goals, he gets cut. I mean, the advancement of kickers has really made it good. But we know we got to keep doing a great job of, excuse me, of holding up and making that ball get out, and hopefully they don't hit it too high.
When you're returning in that sense as well, how much do you need everybody just clicking on all cylinders to make sure you have an idea?
Oh, totally. Because anybody gets one bust, your guy's down on you, force you to fair catch it or whatever. Or the directional punt guys, or then they start rugbying. There's a lot of things in that regard, but it takes a lot of work. We've put a lot of work into the spring. Hopefully, it'll pay off.
How about guys like Darvin Taylor, Adam Torres, guys who missed a lot?
Let me tell you this: Darvin Taylor's going to be a really good player. He and Cedric Wood have had really good springs. Very high on those two. He and Ced Wood have jumped out at me inside. Taylor is really coming on. He's athletic. He's strong. He's powerful. He's smart. He got a chance to be a really good player. And then Ced Wood is starting to come on.
How bad was that shoulder injury?
Bad. Just had to get it cleared up. Took 2 years. I mean, and came with it. He got banged up, but really hurt a lot in high school. See, a lot of these guys, you get those injuries, man. They've happened in high school, and guys haven't been able to fix them, or people can't fix them, or didn't get evaluated the right way, or things like that. But it was significant. But I'm gonna tell you what, he's rehabbed it really well, and he's been super this spring. I mean, he's got a chance to be a really, really good player. Big, strong, athletic guy. That's a good question. I'm glad you brought him up. Nobody's asked about him. I didn't think about it, but he's played really, really happy with his future.
What about a guy like Adam Torres? He's another guy.
Okay, just getting back off the injuries. What I mean? He's been out there and it's good. He got out here the second half of spring. I mean, he had rods put in both legs now. I mean, he had those rods in those legs, and it's been amazing for him to get back out there. So it's still too early to see on that. But he's out there. It's great to see him.
The last one back to making us up to Bello.
Bello's getting better. Offensive line. Him. Janarius, there's another guy up there is getting better. I'm trying to think of whom I'm missing. Those guys. Of course, Wally and Fred's had good springs, but those other 2 young tackles been really good. And am I missing anybody else on the defensive front? Josh Brown's been solid. Emmett Rice has been good. D-Jack's okay. He's been okay. Needs to play more consistently, be more physical. Some things he's doing. Young DBs have all been really good. Stanford Salmon's been outstanding. Fagan's been really good. Bruton got banged up, but 19. Westbrook. I'm sorry, but he's done a really good job at nickel and in the slot and back at safety. He's had a good Derwin. And Trey Marshall's had an outstanding spring. I mean, Trey has played outstanding. I mean, I've been very happy with his progress and where he's at.
Yeah, Trey, I know that's a guy that you've certainly been high on. And
Trey.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and he's playing in the back end of that thing on the safety on the hash now. I mean, and fitting the run and doing things. I mean, tackling exceptionally well, but playing the pass. I mean, just playing smart, playing like a senior. You know what I mean? Playing like a senior. I mean, really playing good football. Been very, very pleased with his progress there.
There's a lot of juice back there with him and Derwin.
Yeah, they got a lot. I mean, there's a lot of them, Fagan, all those guys. I mean, they got a chance. Be a pretty good group.
Coach Patrick said he played a little bit of quarterback in high school.
They snapped it to him all the time. Very similar to what they did with Cam at times.
Is that unique in the fact that a running back in the college level played quarterback?
Yeah, we had 2 of them. I mean, remember we threw a halfback pass with him last year. Remember we threw one with NC State. But he's got the ability. Cam does. Cam can. I mean, they all. It gives them a little different perspective on things. You know what I mean? It really does.
Okay.
You get that a lot. Sometimes you get running backs. Some more receivers a lot though. Probably more receivers that do that get moved out to receiver. If you're an athletic guy that runs around, but not as many backs. But those guys are very unique.
You feel like a triple halfback pass this year. DeAndre to Cam to Southwest and then deep ball.
That's a long play, partner. Y'all been watching too much Little Giants. Annex of Puerto Rico. The Annex of Puerto Rico, is that what it was? Annexation of Puerto Rico or whatever it was.
Last year, Auden was a guy who did well in the spring. When you think about what he's done from now to what you've seen then, what do you see has been the biggest area of progress with him, and what do you want to see from him now?
Consistency. Now, it was good to see him back out there practicing today. That's for, hopefully, we'll judge tomorrow and we get hit and see if he can, if he can go. I don't know if he'll be able to go in the game, but he was out there in some practice today. I don't know if he'll be able to take a shot or not. We'll wait and see. But it's a consistency of understanding, using his size, using his routes and his body. That's what I say. You got to know who you are as a player and what your assets are, what your liabilities are. And you improve the liabilities, but use the assets and understand what you are and who you are and how you got to play. And I think he's really starting to grasp that and becoming a very effective player.
What do you think you guys with the receivers this year doing still a lot of teaching with the routes? Because I know last year you said, hey, a lot of these guys come in from high school and they don't learn these basic fundamentals. Is it still much of that?
Oh, yeah. Because they're all coming from just run over here and run over there. But some programs do. Some are more disciplined in what they do. And that's the solid stuff you hear the NFL guys complain about from wide open offenses. They don't run many off the route tree. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn to teach that, and it's all part of it. But I'm excited about it. Why Keith had, getting him back the other day, and he looked. I was shocked he was out there doing as much as he did today. Nooney will be really good. I feel Phillips is making progress. Got to learn to be more consistent, but he's making some progress, and he made a real nice touchdown catch in the scrimmage the other day. Contested guy all over him, and DeAndre made a heck of a throw, and Tate and. And get George healthy. And we know where George. We know this is about normal. This is not unexpected. So we'll have him healthy in the summer and get him back in the fall, and those guys coming in. So I'm excited about that group. It's got a chance to be a good group.
Would Keith be full go for the spring game?
I don't know. It possibly could. I don't know. I got to see. Now he's a worker now. Keith don't say 2 words except yes sir, no sir, and goes to work. And down there in rehab twice a day, rehabbing, and all of a sudden I looked out there and they said, they said there's a chance. We started getting him on the punt returns, and he kept rehabs over the weekends and things like that, and all of a sudden he's busting his tail, and said it felt pretty good. He was out there running routes, and he got in practice. We give him reps and we limit it because we want to be careful, because tomorrow we'll give him a little more. And then but he was in team drills at the end and caught a couple balls, and it was encouraging to see. Good. Thank you.